Astottara Shata Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today we are beginning a seminar, 3-part seminar, maybe 4-part, on a verse of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 1 to 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to 5. So I'll read text 1 now. Today we'll discuss text 1. Then 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so text 1. This chapter 15 is title of chapter 15, Gita. It's title Purushottam Yoga, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Udva Moolam Mada Shakham Ashvattam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas." Purport: after the discussion of the importance of Bhakti Yoga, one may question, what about the Vedas? It's explained in this chapter that the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in devotional service, already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. This tree's roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahma is located and the topmost planet of this universe. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. The process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapters, it has been explained that there are many processes by which to get out of the material entanglement. And up to the 14th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upward. This means that it begins from the total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded with so many branches representing the various planetary systems. The fruits represent the results of the living entities' activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and roots upward, but there is such a thing. that tree can be found beside a reservoir of root sap. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. This tree, being the reflection of the real tree, is an exact replica. Last paragraph. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahman to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, come Prakriti, Purusha, then the 3 gunas, then the 5 gross elements, Pancha Mahabhut, then the 10 senses, Dashendriya, mind, etc. In this way, they divide up the whole material world into 24 elements. If Brahman is the center of all manifestations, then this material world is a manifestation of the center by 180 degrees. And the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is the perverted reflection, so the spiritual world must have some variegatedness. But in reality, therefore, both Prakriti and Purusha must be there in the spiritual. In the spiritual world, however, Prakriti is the Supreme Lord's internal energy, and Purusha is the Supreme Lord Himself. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita 8.22. Purusha sa para partha. The difference between spiritual and material manifestation is that the former is eternal and the latter is temporary. A reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected is eternal. The material reflection of the tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it's assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by the ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead Himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaura Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. So we begin the discussion on today on a 4-part seminar on this series of verses. This is describing a tree. It's a figurative tree, which means there is no actual tree. If you ask me, where is it? Is it in Nellore? Is it in Badrinath? Where's the tree? There is no tree as such, but it is a figurative example of a concept which is throughout the Vedas. If we see Bhagavad Gita, it's in one verse, Shankaracharya says, Sarvopanishadi Gavo Dogdha Gopal Nandana. Krishna is milking the Upanishads and thereby he produced Bhagavad Gita. It is the essence of the Upanishads. So this topic is not only in Bhagavad Gita, it's in Kathopanishad, explained in detail. This whole chapter 15 is actually explaining this first text 1, expounding on it. So in Bhagavad Gita we see chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First concepts are introduced. The concept of yoga. What is yoga? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Different verses explain what is yoga. Then chapter 8, Krishna is asking, Arjuna is asking, Kim karma? What is karma? Kim Brahma? Adhyatmam Kim? What is Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is transcendence? Karma? What is work? Okay, then the details about work. Work is like this, the different types of work, karma, all this. This is like, for example, if you're studying a science. In the beginning, We study first of all maths. Maths is the basis of, say, physics. Then you understand the concepts. Then you actually study physics. So, whereas we can say Bhagavad Gita is, every part is very elevated and great. But now when you come past chapter 12, 13, 14, 15, that is explained by previous acharyas to discuss Gyan in more detail. The first 6 discuss karma. Actually everything is bhakti, but how they are approaching. The middle 6 is bhakti. The last part, that goes very deep in taking all those concepts and speaking higher topics. For example, now explaining about this tree. By now we should be familiar what is karma. This is called the tree of karma, tree of work. We should be familiar of what is karma phal, adhyatma, prakriti, purusha. Everything was explained previously. So when it comes now, this is chapter 15, short chapter, but very deep, very deep. Actually, many traditions, when someone dies in India, they'll read this chapter 15. It gives a summary of the material and spiritual creations. So it's discussing a tree. As I mentioned, this is also in Kathopanishad. Same verse. Urdhva Moolam Ada Shakham Ashwata Prahur Avyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. So Kathopanishad says the same thing. But now I wanted to just investigate more about this concept, because it also coming in Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, it comes 2 times. In the shloka it's coming. And Prabhupada also discusses it in the purport. Even in Bhagavatam 1st canto, it comes in different names. For example, it's spoken of as the tree of cosmic creation. In 3rd canto, tree of cosmic creation. Then again in 3rd canto, chapter 25, the tree of material existence. And Prabhupada speaks, and in the Upanishads, many translations by different other sampradayas, they call it inverted banyan tree, tree of life, like that. But very interesting, not only in Vedic literature I found this, tree of life. Okay, for example, in ancient Britain, what we understand, we know if you read Mahabharata, that the other cultures of the world all came from the Vedas. Vedic. And if you read Mahabharata, you see when and how they went to Egypt and these places. So they were just offshoots of Vedic culture, but being out of contact with the center, because Bharat Varsha is the source of culture, religion, and everything. So they were disconnected, so the philosophy went off slowly. So for example, now in Britain, pre-Christian Britain, they followed something, what they call now pagan. Pagan is the people who are primitive and not having proper culture, they call them that. But actually, they were Vedic. Pre-Christian Britain, they were people called Druids. They were the priests. They resisted Christianity till the end for it to spread. So, I was just checking this tree of life, where else it's mentioned. Now it's mentioned like this, that the Druids, before Christianity came to Britain, what they were following, some kind of Vedic path, the Druids were known as the priests. And the word Druid comes from their language, Gaelic, Celtic. And it means the knower of the tree. Now, if you look at it, it means the knower of the oak. Oak is a kind of tree. And now, when I research, why are they called knower of the tree? We don't know. They don't know. So, but in another text, it's mentioned they're called knower of the tree because they are the knower of knowledge and how to get liberation. And they're speaking about the same tree, the knower of the tree. Okay, now you may say that is coincidence. But another source of knowledge is in Scandinavia. You know Scandinavia? Sweden, Norway, Denmark, these countries are known as Scandinavia. It's Northern Europe. They have a tradition, Vikings. Vikings have their tradition, is called Norse, N-O-R-S-E. Now, they used to speak about, you cannot say this word, Yggdrasil, Y-G-G-D-R-A-S-I-L. They spoke about something which is a huge tree coming from the heaven, coming down upside down, and all their gods are on the tree. different demigods, they are saying. So this concept of this tree is there in different traditions. And the same thing, that it is representing the material manifestation and creation. So in this Bhagavad Gita, which now we'll stick to Bhagavad Gita, it has the source of all knowledge, nothing abstract, very clear. So now within Bhagavad Gita, in 5 verses, they're speaking about this tree. Well, as I said, the whole chapter 15 is speaking about the tree, upside down banyan tree. The first text, today we'll only do the first text. First text is discussing in brief the tree. That there's a tree upside down, the roots are up, branches are down, the leaves are the Vedas. And it is avyayam, it cannot be destroyed. It can be, but in the sense that it is always, Ramanujacharya in commentary on this verse says that imperishable in the sense that Ashwata, I'm trying to find where it's written. Immutable, in the sense it cannot be felled, it cannot be destroyed like a normal tree. A normal tree will one day die, no water, it's not like that. This tree will go on because it's part of a continual flow. What is the flow? We will see how the tree came about. Okay, so now it's saying that if you know this tree, you can get liberation. So Krishna saying that to get Arjun's attention, because so many topics went and went. Now he's speaking about the tree. Maybe Arjun is okay. He says, no, now you have to know this tree. Who knows it, knows the Vedas. Then in the next verses, and who can cut it, gets liberation. So now in text 1, it's speaking that the Prabhupada's translation, it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree. Now look at this point, how it's saying, Ashwata Prahu. Prahu means it is said. It is said. Who says? And why are they saying? And the point is, they're not going in detail. Why? Because Arjuna is from the Vedic tradition, he will be knowing this already. He'll know about that, but he'll not know in detail about the tree. Now Krishna will explain it. But because Arjuna is in the Vedic tradition, he will be knowing something about it. So it is said, Prahur, it said that there's an imperishable banyan tree, avyayam, that has its roots up, branches down, and the leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. The first sentence spoken by Prabhupada is that, how did this topic come? Bhagavad Gita is going on, discussion is going on, now suddenly they're talking about a tree. So it came about like this, that up until now, discussion is on Bhagavad Gita, is on bhakti. Conclusion of chapter 14, what does Krishna say? 14, he's discussed about the modes of material nature, which is supposed to be highest knowledge than anything from chapter 1 to 13. Very high. Why? Because Krishna says, idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmam agataha. If you take shelter of this knowledge, if you know it, you can get a spiritual body like mine, he's telling Arjuna. Mama sadharmam agataha. Sarge no pajayanti pralaya na vyatanti cha. You will not be born at the time of creation or destroyed at destruction, pralaya. So, at the end of that, it's speaking about modes of nature. The last end, what does it say? That Krishna says, finally, if you simply do bhakti, avyabhicharena bhakti. Abhichar means contaminated, not pure. Avyabhichar, without any other focus, just worship me in bhakti. What happens? Saguna and samatityetan. Then the guna cannot touch you at all. Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be seen in Shuddha Sattva state. Therefore, Lord Shiva, in the Daksha Yajna section of Srimad Bhagavatam, he's explaining to Parvati how he is superior and so great. Because he is great. He's explaining that Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. The pure state of goodness is known as Vasudev. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Vasudeva Shabditam. Yad iyate tata Bhagwan apavritam. And Bhagavan apavritam. Avrita means covered. And that stage, the Lord can be worshipped because he is seen without a cover. There is no covering. I cannot see the Lord now. But in a pure consciousness, I can see the Lord. Sattvam cha tasmin Bhagwan apavritam. Yad iyate Bhagwan apavritam. Sattvam cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo He adhokshare me manasa adriyeta. So Bhagavan Vasudeva, adhokshaj, at that state of sattva, Shuddha sattva, he adhokshaj me manasa adriyeta. I focus my mind fully on the Supreme Personality and I can see him in that state of sattvagun, pure sattvagun. This means Lord Shiva is in pure sattvagun. So Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be seen in that stage. So now this discussion in Bhagavad Gita is going on about bhakti, and it says in the last towards the end of chapter 14 that the Supreme can only be seen and that we can become free from guna by pure bhakti. So now the question is, then what about the Vedas? Because we are saying Bhagavad Gita is discussing about bhakti, everything about bhakti, but elsewhere we know that we have to study the Vedas. We have to understand the Vedas. Please, can you put off the fan? An educated person is one who knows the Vedas. So one will argue, oh, you are speaking about bhakti, but do you know Veda Shastra? We have to be Pandit, we have to know Vedas. So, regarding that question, Prabhupada explains that actually, one who is in Krishna consciousness, he is already knower of the Vedas. Why? Because goal of the Vedas is to know the Supreme Person. One who is worshipping, gradually he will get knowledge, he will get everything. So he is the topmost Vedantist. He is a Vedantist. This is mentioned. So now, one who knows the tree is the knower of the Vedas. In other words, one who is devotee. Okay, now we look at this verse. This verse is speaking about a tree. In this chapter 1, it's introducing the tree as being upside down. Why upside down? In the purport it's explained that it's upside down because this material world is upside down reflection of the spiritual world. The spiritual world, to be a servant is a great thing. To be a servant of God, to be a servant of the servant is the greatest. Krishna becomes much more happy when you are serving his servant. Then if you come directly, it's not so pleasing. You know, like if we are worshipping and serving the great servant of Krishna, Prabhupada Krishna is very happy. Easily we can attain his mercy like that. Then if we go directly, without Acharya, without Parampara. So this material world is opposite reflection. Just like in the water, the tree is reflected. And so the branches are coming down and the roots are going up. Now more details are given about the tree later on. But here just the concept of the tree we have to understand. That the entanglement of this material world is compared to the banyan tree. A banyan tree is has many roots. Sometimes you cannot know which is the trunk. Many roots, it's very vast, it's very big. Now imagine if you are climbing that tree, when you are small, we'll climb the tree, we cannot see where's the beginning, where's the end. In that way, this material world, we cannot know what is the limit, where's the beginning, where's the end, why it came, when will it end, we don't know anything. We're in the middle of the tree. This is upside down banyan tree. Upside down in the sense, if you go to the root, that is Brahman, that is the spirit. It's spiritual. But as you come down, we are going far from spiritual. Coming down, what does coming down the tree mean? It means becoming more implicated in material activities. That means trying to enjoy the material world more and more and more. So what happens then? We become very tightly attached to the tree. The tree becomes firm. It becomes very tight. Now it says here that for one who is engaged in fruitive activity, that means sense enjoyment, there is no end to the banyan tree. You cannot reach the end of the tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another, to another. He's going. And he's not thinking, how will I get out? Where is the end of the tree? Where is the trunk? He loses sight of outside the tree, the reality. He gets absorbed in the tree, attached to the tree. Now, one point here. It's saying that the leaves of the tree, chandamsi yasya parnani. The leaves of the tree represent the Vedic hymns. Why is it saying that? Actually, here it's saying Ashwatha. Ashwatha, you can say banyan, but it's people, you know, Ashwatha. Ashwatha, tree. It's people in English, people.
Oxygen tree.
Yeah, the people tree. You know, it has beautiful leaves. It's shining, all is shining. There's no dust can fall. And when the wind blows, it's beautiful. So, the leaves are compared to Vedic hymns. And when someone becomes attracted to the leaves, they are attracted to the Vedic hymns. Why is it saying that? The Vedic hymns, they are mostly how to enjoy in this world. Karmakand. Karmakand, many rituals. So, what does a tree do? What does the leaf do in the tree? It gives strength to the tree because it captures the sunlight, it makes food, photosynthesis, provides the food. It makes the tree strong, isn't it? So, this tree of material illusion is made stronger and stronger by our attachment to the karma kand. In other words, to sense enjoyment. Now, in this same verse, Ramanujacharya has written a commentary on this, and he mentions, for example, that they say the leaves of this Ashwatha tree constitute the Vedas. The Vedas are said to be the leaves, since this tree of samsara increases by actions prompted by worldly desires. The more I have strong desire, the more materially I'm bound, like that. And he gives some examples. He gives, from example, Taittiriya Samhita. He who desires prosperity should sacrifice a white animal to Vayu. It's mentioned in the Vedas. Then what will happen? Then you'll get a lot of money. Okay. Next, desire of offspring, one who wants children, should offer to Indra and Agni a sacrifice with 11 cups of rice cakes. Most of the Vedas contains this information. How to enjoy in this world, how to increase. Okay, so the tree flourishes with the help of the leaves. In this way, one who attaches to the Vedic Karmakand ritual, this tree becomes very tight. It expands more and more. This is explained. Now we said it's called Avyayam. Ashwatha Prahur Avyayam. Avyayam because we mentioned that the tree is very tightly bound. It will not be destroyed. It's going on and on and on. It will go on. And then there's pralaya, and then I die. It's still there. It's there. Material world. I'm still in material existence. It's speaking about material existence. So as long as I'm still in material existence, I'm not able to understand any other knowledge of God, Spirit. So in that same way, when I'm in the tree, I cannot know what is happening outside, the reality. So now the root of this tree we're talking about. The root comes from Brahman, from the Spirit. So that is where Brahma is located. Lord Brahma, we were all Brahma in the beginning. We took birth as Brahma. Brahma is very close to Vishnu. He can go to the milk ocean, Shir Sagar, and there he can pray and Vishnu communicates to him in his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. He was very close. And in other words, we were Brahma. We could easily get liberation. We were in the beginning of the tree. We could have cut the tree. Some do that, very rare. Then they'll go back, the tree is cut. Otherwise, as Brahma, we have powerful senses, we have high intelligence, we have a great propensity for enjoyment. Brahma created the planets, he created everything, he created the body. So, mostly what happens is we use this to enjoy more. When we do that, then we come down the tree. then branches more and more and more and more branches, until we lose track. We don't even understand where the tree came, everything, where it is. So the root of the existence grows upward. That means it begins from the total material substance. The fruits of the tree represent the living entity's activities, the results of his activities, result of material activities. Now everything is a Vedic context, because now people do sense enjoyment and try to enjoy, but separate from Vedas. That's not recommended at all. Previously everyone was within the Vedic culture. So now fruits represent the living entity's activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, liberation. What is the Sanskrit for that? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So for karma kandis, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That aim is calm. But for calm, they attach to Dharma. That is a good way of doing calm, because what happens? We are given even how to enjoy is given in the Veda. We don't know otherwise. It's telling us how to enjoy. So they do Dharma to get a result, Artha. A result, money, prosperity, good position. Then they do karma. When they get fed up, they want moksha, leave everything. So this dharma, artha, kama, moksha is the fruit of this tree. This is the fruit. It's explained. And the reflection of the tree, if we see in the purport, it says the reflection of this tree can be visible on water. The reflection is temporary, but the original tree is the actual tree. Even in the spiritual world there's a tree, but that tree is growing properly. It's growing up, and there people become more and more absorbed in Krishna, much more absorbed, more deeper. That is the proper way. But this is opposite. We become more and more absorbed in calm, then we lose our intelligence and become much more implicated in the material world. So the real tree is there. That will not go. Now same way, if I'm looking at the reflection of the tree, when the water dries, I'll not see the tree. And I cannot really understand the tree, the water is shaking. So what is water representing? Desire, correct. Because the reflected tree is based on desire. As long as I have desire, this tree will be very strong. I cannot cut it. If there's no desire, there's no tree. So in the same way, like this tree, this reflection is temporary, it can go, it can come, the water is representing the desire. The tree will exist as long as desire is there. So within this tree is the entire material manifestation we can understand. The material world is a perverted reflection of spiritual world. So whatever is in the material world is there also. There are people, there are interactions between people. Except there is a Purush. The scent is Purush, here there is no Purush. Purush, we think we are Purush, this is the problem. But we are Prakriti. We are servant of Purush. The Purush himself is who we have to serve. But here we start to become Purush, that is the reflection. Prakriti became Purush, which is not supposed to be. So we say that somebody knows this tree, I understand the tree, that means he knows the Vedas. Because when we say, it says in the purport, the material reflection of the tree has to be cut. If you understand this tree, then we understand that this tree is not a good thing. It's not something that it should not exist. We should not be in material consciousness. So it's assumed someone understands the tree, that he knows how to cut it. This is cut off by attachment to this material world. Now this is not a simple thing. It's not looking straight. It looks like give up attachment to the material, give up material attachment, so leave everything, just leave everything. It won't work like that, because attachment is in the heart. Attachment's inside. Where will you go? It will follow you. Now then, how to cut that attachment is given in the next few verses we look at. But the point here, it says that it's when someone knows the Vedas, he knows the process to cut the tree. It means he actually knows the Vedas. There are people who pose as Pandits. Veda, Vada, Ratha. Bhakti things, but they don't know the goal is to surrender to the Supreme and develop Bhakti for the Supreme. It means they don't really know the Vedas. So one who's attracted to the ritualistic formulas, so many yajnas and this and vrat and that to get some result, it means you're attracted to the leaves of the tree. Then you cannot leave the tree. Then you won't cut it, isn't it? Still we are attracted. It looks nice. He does not know the purpose of the Vedas. He has written the purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree. We are not against trees. We want the real tree. We don't want the artificial one. Because we, as spirit beings, are meant to be in a spiritual environment, spiritual tree. But now in a material place, material energy causes suffering for us. It's not natural. Nothing is the original. Even in spiritual, they are families. They are family. Krishna's family is there. Krishna, there's this family relation. There's streets, houses, activities, but in a spiritual way. Krishna is the center. Here, I'm the center. Whatever I do, I'm the center. Even in a relationship. So, purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of God himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our acharyas, when he wrote about this shlok, he always writes he analyzes the Sanskrit and gives a very deep meaning according to the Sanskrit. Let's see if you can catch it. It's very little deep. So he says that in the shloka, they're speaking about Ashwata. Urdhva Moolam Ada Shakha Ashwata Prahur Avyayam. So he's saying Shva in Ashwata. Shva means tomorrow in Sanskrit. Tomorrow. Ashva, Ashwata, Ashva can mean no tomorrow. Okay? And we say Ashwatha. Stha means to stay. And if you combine the word, then stha means tha. So Ashwatha means that which will not exist tomorrow. If we analyze Ashwatha. So what does that mean? The material world is Ashwatha. It won't exist tomorrow. Pralaya will happen. Isn't it? That world will be destroyed, the body will be destroyed. But now we are seeing two ways here. The tree will be destroyed for the devotee and non-devotee. It will be destroyed for the devotee because he'll get liberation. This tree will be destroyed, he'll go back to Godhead. And for non-devotees, it will be destroyed in the sense that I am identifying as a particular state, particular body, everything, but this will all be destroyed. So in that way, Ashwatha means that will not exist tomorrow. So that is what he said. Imperishable banyan tree. So this is text 1. And tomorrow we look at text 2. So text 1, as I mentioned, simply we have text 1, 2, 3. In this text, simply it's speaking about the tree in brief, how to know it. What is the tree? Tomorrow we look at text 2. Text 2 talks more details about the existence of the tree, how it expands, what is nourishing the tree. Tree gets nourishment. What is nourishing the tree? And the different parts of the tree, and how this tree is relating to human society. That is in text 2. Tomorrow we'll see. Then day after tomorrow we'll see that text 3, 4, which are combined, that gives much more knowledge about the tree and explains that about the tree. Now we understand that this tree is supposed to be cut and how to cut it. How to cut it? Text 5. This is the first 5 verses explaining the upside down banyan tree, which Upanishads describe as, Bhagavatam describes as the tree of the cosmic manifestation, the tree of material existence, and Kathopanishad also says upside down banyan tree. Hare Krishna. Anything to ask or say? Comment. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Satnam Vishnu Namo.